Hey, how are you? This is Michael Williams, and I wanted to do a real quick video. In fact, I don't know how quick it's going to be, but I'm just sitting here in my office. If you see my cat come in, don't worry about her. Hopefully she won't make too much noise, but I wanted to do a video for you about some of the questions that I've been getting really over the past year about specific techniques or tips to help people stop stuttering or stop stammering. And their request is related to breathing techniques or elongations or other such techniques that can help one manage or overcome their stuttering almost immediately. So these are things that one can do almost immediately that can help them manage their speech. And then they get into my program and they find very quickly that there's little to none of that, and they go, this really sucks. So they go find something else that's better. And what happens to some of those people is that they come back because they see a difference. And let me tell you what the difference is. And let me first back up and say this. Many of the other programs out there, as well as speech therapy, is extremely effective for many people. And so I'm not saying that my strategies or techniques are better in any kind of way. But let me just differentiate what it is that I focus on from perhaps what they focus on. And I'm only telling you this because of what people have told me, people who have used either speech therapy or tried some of the other programs. And here are some of the things they've shared with me. Okay, I focus on what's called a start speaking strategy. What many other programs focus on is a stop stuttering tactic. Now, let me explain what the difference is between a strategy and a tactic. A strategy can be more long-term. It can be short-term too, but we're looking at something that's long-term. We're looking at a how, a way to do something. Here's my strategy for doing this. This is how I'm going to accomplish this goal or these goals. The tactics then are those things that we use to help accomplish those goals. Now, what some people are looking for are stop stuttering tactics. That is, give me some very specific tactics that I can use right now to stop stuttering, right? The problem with that is if you don't use the tactic or the technique, then you start stuttering again, okay? The other problem is that that doesn't take care of one of the underlying issues, which I'll talk to you about in just a second. So we have stop stuttering tactics, which is what many people are looking for. Obviously, I want to stop stuttering now, right? But what I have is a start speaking strategy. So let me ask you a question to help kind of explain this a little bit. Do you stutter or block or stammer or whatever it is that you may do? Do you do it 100% of the time? Or do you only stutter in certain situations? Let me ask that again. Do you stutter 100% of the time, or do you only stutter in certain situations around certain people, certain times? Most of the people would say that they do not stutter 100% of the time, that there are times when they speak smoothly and fluently. Okay, so if you don't stutter 100% of the time, that means that you are physically and psychologically or mentally capable of speaking fluently. Is that correct? You're physically and psychologically capable of speaking fluently, which means that there are certain situations, what I call situational stuttering, where you don't speak fluently, where maybe you lose your breath or you have a hard time catching your breath or you block where there's no breath at all. The words just, they're not coming out. What causes that? Well, it could be a wide range of things that cause that. But one of the underlying issues is what we call speaking anxiety, which can occur from a lot of different sources, but speaking anxiety. So when one gets in a situation where they're around people they don't know, when they're in an interview or speaking before a group, some people stutter when they're around their parents, when they're around certain friends, when they're not around, right? So there are certain situations, times and places where people don't stutter. They don't experience this anxiety. All right, so we got anxiety. It's one of the underlying causes, if you will, okay? Another one is simply the belief that one's going to stutter, right? So there are times, and you'll know what I'm talking about, when you're faced with a situation, you got to do an interview, you got to give a presentation, and you start thinking, oh, I'm probably going to stutter. Or I hope I don't have to say these words because I'm going to stutter on that word. Some people have a problem saying their name or their last name or their phone number. Oh, I'm picking up the phone, I'm probably going to stutter. You hear that voice. That's a belief, right? It's a belief that has come about because in the past you have stuttered in those situations, right? So now you believe that you're going to continue to stutter. Does that make sense? So we have this anxiety and we have this belief. We don't know which started first or where it came from, but it's there. So what I focus on then is the fact that you can speak fluently because you don't stutter 100% of the time. That's great news. There are situations where you don't stutter, right? What are those situations? What's going on or what's not going on there? Okay. There are times when you do stutter. What's going on there? The strategy has to do with doing a couple of things. One, changing the belief that you are a stutterer or that you're going to stutter. So that is, we start thinking about oneself as an excellent speaker. So we don't focus on not stuttering, we focus on speaking fluently and smoothly. Does that make sense? Okay? Because you don't want to think about stuttering or think about not stuttering, you want to think about speaking and speaking fluently. So we kind of reprogram oneself, right? We reprogram oneself to start thinking about being an excellent speaker. Does this take time? Absolutely. It's not like a tactic where you can do it. It's a strategy. Let me show you the benefits of this strategy in just a few minutes. So we start thinking about ourselves differently every day, until that old belief is now programmed over. It's reprogrammed, if you will. Second thing we do is we practice speaking fluently. That is, most people can speak fluently by themselves or when they're alone or around certain people. So we take those times when you can speak fluently and we use them to help you practice speaking fluently because it's all about learning. You're now relearning how to speak fluently, right? And at the same time, you're reprogramming yourself. You're changing your beliefs. You're doing those two things simultaneously. You can't just change your beliefs and not do the practice because it probably won't work. For some people, it does. So what we're doing then is we're practicing speaking fluently during those times when you do speak fluently. Someone says, well, yeah, I can speak, I can do presentations, I can read by myself and not have any problems. It's when I get in front of people, when I have an interview, that's when I stutter. I know that. I understand that. But here's what's happening. You're reprogramming yourself using something that I call the 3P formula, and you can check that out in some of the programs, but using affirmations, but a specific kind of affirmation. You're reprogramming yourself while you're practicing speaking. Now, you don't just practice by yourself, but after you've practiced speaking or responding or giving a presentation, you take the show on the road. That is, you go and you try to do it in front of a small group of people. And because you've practiced it so much, and because you've been affirming or you've been telling yourself you're an excellent speaker, and you've been doing this for a while, you will probably find that you will speak, even if it's just a little, you'll speak a little more fluently when you do that presentation than you would have before. Makes sense? So maybe you don't do it. So maybe you do it 60% or 20% or 10% more fluently than you did before. That's a 10% gain. So if you keep doing it, you keep practicing and you keep using this 3P formula, you keep doing that, then you see it's a 20%, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100% gain doing these presentations or speaking, wherever it is. And the benefit of this, the long-term benefit, is that after a while, and this could take a year, could take a couple of years, could take a few years. So what? So what if it takes 3 years, right? If it takes 3 years, but after 3 years you're speaking fluently, you no longer think of yourself as a stutterer, then that's 3 years well invested. So, well, I don't want to take 3 years. I want to get it done in 1 day or 90 days or 30 days or 6 months. Doesn't matter if you can get it done, right? That's the point. So however long it takes you, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, right? You will get it done. And once it's done, here's the long-term benefit. You no longer think of yourself as stuttering. You no longer really think about stuttering. You just speak. You focus on the other person. You focus on the message. You focus on what it is that you're trying to say, or the conversation, or whatever it is that you want to focus on. You focus on that and not on stuttering, or not on managing your stuttering, or stopping, or this technique or that technique. Do you see where I'm going? So it's a strategy. It's often a long-term strategy. But the long-term benefits are that you no longer have to think about it after a while. With the stop stuttering tactics, you often have to remember to use the tactics or else it doesn't work. Okay? And if there's any underlying beliefs about stuttering or stammering, they're still going to be there for the most part. So once again, I'm not saying that, certainly not saying that speech therapy or that the other programs that are out on the market are not effective, not good, because I believe they are. I believe they are for a lot of people. I just wanted to differentiate what we do, what I do, from what is out on the market. And just to share with you, this is a start speaking strategy. That's what we're focused. We're not focused on stuttering. Forget about stuttering. We're focused on speaking. So it doesn't matter if you stutter, or if you have speech anxiety, or if you just want to become a better speaker. I know I mentioned stuttering a lot because that's kind of it's kind of where I come from, and where a lot of the people that probably are watching this video maybe. But even if you just want to become a better speaker, that's what this is focused on. Some people are even kind of embarrassed. Some people don't even let their friends know that they stutter, because it can be embarrassing. One gentleman said he gets mail, it's from this organization, Stuttering, right? So he doesn't want people to see that. Well, you don't have to worry about that, and I hope that I don't put that on stuff, but this is about speaking. It's about you becoming an excellent speaker, right? And everyone can stand to improve their speaking ability. I work on my speaking ability hopefully every day, or at least once a week. So that's what this is about. And so I wanted to just take these few moments to share that with you, because I just received an email actually from a young lady asking about breathing techniques. And I have to just simply kind of try to explain to her that this program really isn't about breathing. Breathing is important, obviously, or we're going to die. But this is really more about speaking. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. This is Michael Williams, founder of the StartSpeakingTrainingCenter.org, and I'll see you soon.